schools in America. And legendary funny man and former Tonight Show host Jay Leno on how Trump changed late-night comedy.
I know words. I have the best words.
And if he'd ever like another spin in the host seat. Plus, after the wild Bachelor finale that broke all the rules, Colton and Cassie are here live, and the co-hosts are putting them in the hot seat.
When this virgin comes here, I'm going to give him a dose of a little psychotherapy.
Hot Topics are in the house with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Came out like way earlier than everyone
You're
else.
so excited to be here.
There's a giant gap between you
Bachelor's
guys
here
and me.
today.
I'm sorry.
The Bachelor's here.
And Jay Leno.
And Jay Leno, yeah. So Whoopi's getting better every day, and we'll be back soon. I want you all to be a member of Whoopi. I hope she gets better, because I have a lasagna in my freezer just waiting for her.
Oh,
I do.
Shared that lasagna.
I do. She loves it.
Yet.
So did you ever wonder why your kid can't get into an Ivy League school, even though they have straight A's and great SAT scores? Did you ever think about that? Well, this could have something to do with it. College Counseling Service leader William Singer was just arrested as the ringleader of the biggest college admission scam ever. He allegedly helped the rich and powerful, including actresses like Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, get their kids into Ivy League schools through bribes, cheating on entrance exams, faking disabilities, and doctoring photos of kids playing sports. Now, everyone is shocked by this. Shocked. But, I mean, are you surprised? I'm not that surprised.
Is that the
I'm
sad
surprised
part?
they caught them, that's all.
Isn't that the sad part, though? Like, when this broke yesterday, I was like, oh, shocking. Like, this is what I think we all knew was going on. I'm just thrilled that a spotlight is being put on it.
Yeah.
Because if this is one operation, but it does make you wonder how many others there are and how many other parents are paying off for their kids to get in through sports, or someone taking their exams for them, or whatever it is. I do want to mention that William H. Macy, Felicity Huffman's husband, is not charged in this. But what was also interesting is it wasn't just the parents. There were 9 coaches at elite schools, 2 SAT and ACT exam administrators, 1 exam proctor, a college administrator. So it expands beyond just the parents. They have to work with these schools to get paid in return in some way, which also makes it just even worse.
Well, I was shocked. I was shocked to learn that I could have gone to, if my parents had had enough money, I could have gone to school pretending I was a gymnast.
Yeah, that was shocking. But Uncle Corbett.
Listen, you know, I was a fellow at Harvard at the Institute of Politics a few years ago. Not that I was a student. Even if my parents had $500,000, they still wouldn't have let me in. But there are so many black and brown kids and poor white kids in these schools who are told and made to feel like they don't belong there. There are people who go against affirmative action. They have, filed lawsuits, have said that rich white people are getting, poor them are getting discriminated. And damn it, to know that they are gaming the system this way, and that the ones that don't belong there and don't deserve to be there and are paying to be there are these kids, not those kids, just angered me to no end.
That's how I felt too. We were texting each other, and for me, I thought, how mediocre must you be if you have to game a system that disproportionately advantages you anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's how I was,
That's a good one.
You must really be mediocre if you have to game that system, because you've got all the advantages of that system anyway.
But they don't want them to go to just any school.
Yeah, they want them to go to that school. And I think what was also shocking to me...
And what you're talking about by advantages are private schools, counselors, tutors, SAT courses.
You can pay for the best anyway. And I also thought, we know that people like Jared Kushner's family pays allegedly $2.5 million to get them in. We know the families that donate a wing to a building or donate a library. Well, that sometimes inures to the benefit of everyone. So I'm thinking, well, you donated the library, your kid got into Harvard. Okay, my kid's sitting in the library now. I may not be bothered, but this is fraud. This is someone taking the exam for your kid. This is very, very different. And that sickened me. And the athletic part really sickened me because you all know, my kid is a 3-sport athlete. I've been the mom that has seen him sitting in the Epsom salt bath all night. I've been the mom that, wakes him up at 4 o'clock in the morning because he's going to swim practice at 5:30 when his friends are still in bed. I've been the mom where, he's got to leave our summer vacation because he's got preseason football. And these parents are superimposing their kids' faces on my kid's face. I mean, that's ridiculous.
But Sonny, your kid's going to go to Harvard or Princeton and he's going to finish. These kids are going to go 6 months and then they're going to get kicked out.
Well, I don't know. A lot of those kids have graduated.
Well, how did they do that?
Now?
Is somebody writing their papers for 4 years?
No. We don't have that much time left, and I just want to get one thing in really quick. First of all, what you're saying about Harvard, there's actually a huge scandal right now that they were accused of letting in too many Asian students. Google this. Even though they qualified, obviously, for whatever, but they didn't want a disproportionate amount of Asian students at Harvard University. Okay, for me specifically, not everything is about my family. I know. I read my tweets. I know what you guys are saying. But Aunt Becky's husband talked crap about ASU, okay? And at Arizona State University is where the McCain Institute for International Leadership is partnershipped with ASU, where they find students, identify, develop, and train a global network of character-driven leaders that I have the luxury to be a part of that institute. And it was chosen because ASU is a premier educational system as well. And maybe it isn't as good from some people, Hollywood elite's perspective as Harvard and Yale. But let me tell you something. ASU has the president, Michael Crow, who is an incredible president, who's been doing incredible things for a long time. And they clapped back and said, ASU has no comment on glib, uninformed remarks, but underlying this is something important that deserves attention. Some universities have decided the most important thing they can do is turn away deserving qualified applicants just so they can seem more exclusive. So I'm just saying, finally, I'm very proud to have my family's name attached to ASU. It's an incredible, incredible, incredible college. And Aunt Becky's husband, or whoever the hell you are, I have no idea who you were till yesterday, sorry. Your kid probably wouldn't have been good enough to have even gotten into ASU.
And I want Becky with the good hair to go to jail.
Well, that's the thing.
Can I just mention legacy admissions for a second?
Not enough Asian students got in. I'm getting it correct. Not enough Asian students were let in by Harvard because they were Asian.
Okay, there's such a thing as legacy admissions, which means if your parents went to Brown or Harvard or UP, you can go. But it's interesting because the idea of legacy admissions is racist in nature, and I'll tell you why. It started in the 20s to keep out upwardly mobile immigrants who had started pushing for admission to elite schools.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very, very bad system. Legacy. Why should your kid get in because you got in?
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, the only thing I will say
That's
is
not
when
fair.
it comes to
I didn't have any. I was the first person in my whole family to go to college.
Military academies, my family goes back generations at the Naval Academy, and that's service to your country. So I would push back in that part of it because my grandfather, great-grandfather, my brothers, they all served their country.
Yeah, but if you don't have the grades, why should you benefit
They did have the grades. My brother did, but I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of the fact that my family's legacy is at the Naval Academy. My father's buried there.
I'm not talking about your family. I'm talking about
legacy.
I'm talking about the policy of where legacy admissions came from.
I'm very proud of my family's legacy at the Naval Academy.
And Jews probably out of the colleges.
Well, let me say
that's what it's about.
Yeah, just one quick thing.
I gotta go.
Should they go to? My question is, will these parents go to jail? I mean, the U.S. Attorney said that there shouldn't be disparate treatment. I wonder, is the American public ready for these parents going to jail?
There are parents who are in jail for food stamp fraud. And there are parents who are in jail for welfare fraud. And there are parents who are in jail because they pretended that they lived in another district.
We have to go.
You know, if they're in jail, these parents.
Anna, I'm going to put you in jail. Coming up. I mean, we're going to talk also. There's so much news. Why haven't those Boeing planes been grounded in the United States? That's another question. We'll talk about that when we come back. And why is Mitt Romney blowing out candles one at a time?
Okay, so you know these ladies aren't afraid to voice their views.
Proud of it.
But now it's time for you to voice yours. So grab your phone and join the conversation.
Twitter's going to go wild.
We want to hear your take on hot topics.
Have you been reading what's on Twitter?
And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our podcast on any podcast app. And of course, watch us weekdays on ABC. And Cassie on their wild and bumpy ride into each other's arms. And funny man Jay Leno on the politics of late night comedy.
Okay, this is not a... Okay, we'll keep this one short because we talked about this yesterday, but it's still a problem in the country because the FAA still have not grounded the model of airplane involved in 2 deadly crashes in the past 6 months, the Boeing 737 MAX 8. So if you're going on that plane, take note. Don't get on it. Even though American pilots, this is the new news, are warning them that there are technical problems the company needs to investigate. I was reading that some pilot wrote a letter to the FAA saying
several
before the first crash.
Yes.
Well, I only read one letter. 6 of them, I think, are complaining. I mean, come on.
And very quickly, what I read was that there were these safety upgrades to the jet software to fix this automated safety feature, but they were delayed until April, in large part because of the 35-day government shutdown.
Yeah, how do you like that?
Well,
There was also-
You think that something like that is benign when it's happening? You know, people are out of work. It's not killing the country. And then you find out there's a connection.
Just before we got on the show, I called American Airlines because a lot of these planes are flying to Miami, Southwest, United, American, and I asked if they had a policy if people felt uncomfortable and wanted to change. And the airlines are not offering any special policy. They are not allowing people to change without change fees or cancel.
$200 change fee.
And you know, because of the flight attendants, because of the passengers, because of the pilots, because people have anxiety and are nervous, I think there needs to be a special policy for folks.
You know, I always say the most important job if you're a politician is to protect the people that you serve. And this is one of those instances. I know some have spoken out, but even for the president to play a larger role, because if we want these planes grounded, you need to get involved with the people that run Boeing and say this is more important than your reputation. This is more important than anything else. This is about protecting the people that we serve.
But
another
it's okay
pilot
to be paranoid too right now. I mean, I think my friend Josh sums it up in his tweet. Bitch, I'm no aviation expert, but I don't think we should be flying on those planes that keep crashing. We have that tweet someplace. It's okay to be paranoid about planes that are crashing.
That's right.
Totally.
Do not get on those planes. I'm telling people, do not get on them.
Especially
everybody needs to walk off the plane. The pilots and the flight attendants walk off the plane.
And American Airlines, come on, $200 change fee. Can you waive that? Can you waive the change fees if people don't want to get on that airplane?
Which they do for a snowstorm. They do for a hurricane.
But why should we not be concerned when you have pilots? One of them anonymously said that he was flying without being adequately trained for these new systems. I think we are pretty rational to say, I don't think I want to get on that plane.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal response.
And the Boeing CEO, Dennis Muhlenberg, spoke to Trump today or yesterday and spoke with him, and they said it's fine, and so he's okay with it.
But it's okay.
It's like
to be
Putin says he didn't do it. That's one didn't do it. No one did anything. Okay, that's fine.
It's okay to be fearful. Well,
I like to see him go on. Why doesn't one of them let them go on their own planes?
On the MAX 8.
All right. I don't have time to make this transition to something fun, so we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jay Leno. Everywhere I go, people want to know about late night comedy and politics. Finally, a chance to be on a daytime show where the subject of politics never come up. I am so happy.
Jay Leno bid farewell to The Tonight Show back in 2014. If only he'd known at the time that Donald Trump would soon take the White House and become the greatest gift a late-night comedian could ever wish for. So here to catch us up on what he's been doing, as well as his thoughts on the current state of late-night comedy and other things that are going on in the world, is my old friend, the legendary Jay Leno.
I'm the only man that can bring joy and Megan together.
That's 100% true.
true. That's right.
100% true.
It's true. I actually have friends on both sides of the aisle.
I know.
Say it ain't so.
I hear that you'd rather you don't like the idea that the late night comics are so one-sided. Is that true?
No, it's not. I don't like the idea. It's just the fact that all the jokes are. It's kind of the same joke. I mean, I love them all. I mean, Samantha and Jimmy and the other Jimmy and Colbert. I mean, they're all really, but you're all kind of doing a different version of the same joke.
Yeah.
That was my whole point. That to me, I always like to humiliate and degrade both sides equally.
Yeah.
That's why we love you.
Well, that was the old
But it's just that
school.
there's one side that's doing such a good job of humiliating and degrading themselves.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But that was the old school. Bob Hope used to do that.
Well, no,
too.
but you see, it was different. I did it when Clinton was horny and Bush was dumb, and it was what we call a simpler time.
As soon as, I did stand-up up until Obama came in, and then I was losing interest because he was too good. And there was nothing to make fun of there.
Yeah,
With
right.
Bush, it was a bonanza.
Well, yeah, there you are.
Yeah, it was. So what do you think about that? I'm going to talk to you about Mitt Romney, who blew out. Did you see this video? Show them the video of Mitt Romney. He's blowing out his birthday
It's
candle.
a Twinkie birthday cake.
Yeah, Twinkie birthday cake. And because he's so good, because he doesn't want to spread his germs all over the birthday cake.
He blows them out.
He
one by
blows one out at a time.
Yes. Look at that.
You know what's
Here's
so-
what I love about Mitt Romney. When you open the dictionary and you look up white guy,
There he is.
it's so funny. He's like the white guy.
But he's doing like a public service.
I mean, I'm technically a white guy, but I'm Italian. When I see him, I go, no, that's a white guy. He got the tie, and he's white. And, a more decent guy you couldn't find.
I know.
He truly is a decent man. When his wife got muscular dystrophy, he took time off and took care of her. I mean, he's a really decent guy. But he's one of those guys that's like when white guys tell a joke, well, here is a funny anecdote. I was reminded. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
I liked him last time we were at Anna's wedding. He was there. But remember when he tied his dog to the roof of the car? What was that about?
I don't remember him tying the dog to the roof
He
of the
did.
car.
Oh, yes, you
Yes,
remember
you
that.
do.
I remember
You did
somebody
jokes
said
on it. Stop it.
We probably did jokes about
Picking
it.
on Mitt. You were talking about intermittent fasting and dieting with him just 10 days ago.
Too easy.
I know, but that was the one thing he did I did not like.
It's not Jay's fault.
I don't know. You can't yell at me for that.
It is your
What's a public service public service? I mean, how many times haven't you gone to a kid's party and they're like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and then you don't want the cake?
No, but
This was very nice.
he just has that
Yeah.
Gee Golly Willikers thing going.
Yes.
And that's what it is. When he swears, he goes, gee golly. See, we grew up in a time, I never heard an English swear word. It was always, I was yelling in Italian. Mitt Romney knows, by golly, I'm going to punch that full of right
You know what? He's Mormon. I grew up Mormon, so I understand.
Yeah.
It's the whoopsie daisies. You find other ways around
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, I totally get it. And that's a perfect explanation.
What are the other ways you get around it? Because, if you don't drink, you don't curse, and you don't have affairs,
We have a lot
what are the
of-
other
we have a
ways?
lot
She has sex. She's got two in
There
the
you
oven.
go. Yes, once we're married, we have a lot of
Oh, my
donuts.
God.
We have a lot of hot chocolate. We still have our vices. Look,
dance?
I drink now. Like I've
This
gone
is
out
off
of it.
the
but-
rails. This is not how I want to impress Jay Leno on this show right now, okay? So we were talking about this college admissions scandal.
I love
topic.
it.
Okay, tell me why.
I love it because it's got movie stars, it's got sports, it's got money, it's got rich people screwing poor people. It's the classic news story. The best news story before this was Robert Kraft with the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
You had the Super Bowl, you had a rich guy going to, it was like different classes finally meeting. Hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And that woman showing up in every selfie of every Republican politician in like the Western Hemisphere. But listen.
In fact, I'll tell you the joke I had during the break, but I can't do it here.
Oh, that's a tease. That was wrong of you.
I am
That
a
is
tease,
so
as
Mitt-
you know, Joy.
That is so Mitt Romney of you.
Thank you.
Listen, so next month is the White House Correspondent Dinner. For the first time in my memory, we have no comedian. Last year,
I'm
Michelle
sad
Wolf-
about that.
What do you think about that?
The first time I did it with Reagan,
Who had a sense of humor?
he had a very good sense of humor, but it was the first time I ever got nervous at a gig because I get there and I'm backstage,
So what year is this?
This is the 80s.
Okay.
Mid-80s. And this general comes in, he's got the hat on, he's got all the, he goes, hey, are you a comedian? I said, yes, sir. Let me tell you something. This is my president. You understand? This is my commander-in-chief. And he's poking me. He goes, you don't make fun of him. You don't denigrate him.
Oh, God.
And I go, he leaves. So I go, oh, man, what do I do? And then George Shultz comes in. Remember him? He's got a drink. Hey, Leno, come here. nail Ronnie's ass to the wall. I go, that fake thing on his head, you think his hair is that color? Nail his ass to the wall. I said, well, that general said, he works for me. Screw him. I'm telling you. And I was like, what do I do?
What did you do?
Well, it was pretty funny.
Did you nail his ass to the wall?
And what did Reagan tell you afterwards?
Reagan was actually, he was like the
Hold that
funniest.
story, because we have to take a break.
All right, hold it.
I'm sorry. I'm on a tight.
I'll tell you that.
I want to hear the Ronald Reagan story.
I'm on a tight budget here, okay? We'll have more with Jay Leno when we come back. So we're back with comedian Jay Leno, and you were in the middle of telling a story about Ronald Reagan before we get to cholesterol.
Well, the Ronald Reagan story, he was really a good comic. And I was sitting with him once, Jay, were you a good student? Were you a good... I said, no, Mr. President, I wasn't a good student. He goes, Jay, I wasn't a good student either. And I always kicked myself thinking how much further I could have gone if I'd applied myself.
It was the president. That's an amazing
That's
story.
the greatest show, because it's the greatest show.
And now the other thing is, before we go on with this, what's the cholesterol 911 campaign you're working with, and what does Rodney Dangerfield have to do?
Well, I'll tell you something. I had Rodney on my show.
Yeah.
And I was playing Rodney Dangerfield. I was watching Rodney, and he was... We all know, we study other comics. You know how Rodney would do the, hey, how are you?
Yeah, hilarious.
Well, his movements were off. And I said to my producer, Debbie, I said, call the paramedics. I think Rodney's having a problem with something. She goes, really? Just call him. So Rodney finishes his stand-up, very funny, sits down, sweating a little more than normal, but okay. And his timing is off by a fraction. Only another comic would notice, And, okay. Then I go in the dressing room, how you doing? Oh, I'm okay. He's doing that. So the paramedics show up, and I go, what are they doing here? I go, they want to talk to... Well, he had a mini stroke while he was out there.
God.
And the paramedic said to me, you probably saved him from having a heart attack. And I thought, I didn't do anything. I just noticed my friend seemed a little off his game.
Good for you.
And I felt such this, when you make people laugh, you feel great. But when maybe you save somebody, it makes you feel a little bit better.
Right.
But the part of the story you will like, a couple of years later...
that part.
Well, I like that part. But a couple of years later, Rodney had another one, bad, and he was in a coma.
Oh.
And it was right before he died. And I went to the hospital. His wife, Joan, who's fabulous, she's sitting there with him. And she says, Rodney's in a coma. I think he can hear us, but he can't react. I said, okay. So I'm talking to Rodney, and she says, Jay, put your finger in Rodney's hand. And she says, Rodney, if you know Jay's here, squeeze his finger. So I feel this squeeze of my finger, and I went, Rodney, that's not my finger. Right? So Rodney went, and he went like this, and he moved, and Joe went, oh my God, he moved, I mean, he passed away right after that. But
what a way to go.
I mean, I said no, but I really felt like I made one of my heroes laugh.
Wonderful.
And I thought, the fact that it got a reaction from him.
Well, look, if I'm ever in a coma, would you come and visit me?
I will. I'll tell you something. Well, that's kind of why I got involved with this. It's this cholesterol 911 thing. You go there and you check it out. It just has questions. I'm not selling anything. There's no medicine. I'm not a reverse mortgage guy. I'm trying to screw your grandmother out of her house. It's not. We're just trying to make people aware to just ask your doctor these questions that are on the website. That's all ask you to do. Not buy anything.
Check your cholesterol levels, because that's important.
Yeah,
If you want to go take a look at the questionnaire, you go onto the internet.
Yeah,
www.
It tells your doctor.
911.
Right, and it tells your doctor will tell you what to ask.
And sometimes it's hereditary, high cholesterol.
There's all kinds of, I got a friend of mine, he runs 3 miles every day, does the salad thing, boom, had a stroke.
Oh my God.
He's pissed at me. I'm sitting watching you guys eating bonbons, and he goes, hey, how come I had it and you didn't? It's luck of this is what it is. You look at Luke Perry, young, handsome.
52.
52, heart attack. I don't know what the cause was. I'm not implying it was that. But all I'm saying is you go and you ask your doctor these questions. Because people go, my friend Larry at the Shell station said, well, don't listen to Larry. Don't listen to me. Laughter is not the best medicine. It's a terrible medicine. Okay? If a guy's having a stroke, you tell him a joke. It's not going to help.
No.
So ask your doctor.
No, but the laughing does release endorphins. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Meg.
No, just Jay, you and I go way, way, way
We do
back.
go way back.
You had me on your show a ton of times, not to humble brag, but I've always been so, I mean, 2010, when I was super young, you were so wonderful to my father. I just wanted to say that we're in an era where men in media are just being taken out left and right for being pigs. You were the most respectful to women, kindest, nicest man I ever worked with.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I
That's
just
great.
want the world to know there are good men in media.
And he's not even a sexual
And you were
harasser.
one of them. No.
That's unbelievable.
Well, I love your dad.
Thank you. Is it because your
That we know
wife, you don't make jokes about your wife. Your wife was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize for the work she did with Afghan women.
Right.
Do you think part of it is because it's incredible? She's incredible.
Yes,
Do you think it's
Mavis.
because you have an incredible wife? You were
Well,
always so
I
respectful
like
to women.
women. I like, you know, my mom was a woman. No, you know, it just seems like...
Coincidentally.
I mean, a lot of this stuff used to be just called being polite. Now it's called politically correct, I guess. But it is just a matter of being polite and being sensitive to people's needs. I mean, as a comic, you read faces. And Joy, you know this. Sometimes, I mean, I used to do a Hillary Clinton joke. I can't remember what the joke was. But I would get this kind of, and I go, okay, they're laughing at it, not because it's a joke, but because it's a woman. I just took the joke out of my act because I didn't like the tenor of the laugh it was getting.
Are you glad you're not on today, given Trump president?
Well, actually, I sort of am because to me, it's easier when you kind of like people. You know, the first time I had Barack Obama on the show, he was a senator. And he came by himself and he had his coat over his shoulder and he walked in and said, Jay, my name is Barack Hussein Obama. I'm running for president of the United States. And I said, okay, let's look at this. A black guy named Hussein, nobody's ever heard of. You're going to be a two-term president. And he fell off the chair laughing. Okay, your name's Hussein. You're from where?
He too has a great sense of humor. And great comedic timing.
He has a wonderful sense of
He's
humor.
really funny.
He's a good cop. Nobody would ever want to follow him at the correspondence.
No. Well, nobody wants to follow you either. So thanks to Jay Leno for being here today. We love you. We'll be right back.
What made Cassie change her mind after bailing on Colton? What's their relationship status right now? And did that visit to the fantasy suite mean he's not Colton the Virgin anymore?
I'm hanging this so nobody interrupts us.
Ooh, they're live on The View. Next.
Window, but Colton would not give up on Cassie, and it looks like it paid off. So please welcome former Bachelor Colton Underwood and Cassie Randolph. I'll speak for myself because we are so excited to have you here, and congratulations. It looks like you guys are really happy and in love. I do want to ask, because it seemed like, Cassie, up until the very end, you had doubts, even after he sent everybody home. For people that still are wondering, when was that moment that he was your forever love? When did that happen?
You know, I think that really happened, unfortunately, off camera. I think up until the end, there was just so much pressure and so much going on. It just got really overwhelming. And so once the cameras went away and I was able to really look at my feelings and I saw that they were truly real, that's when I kind of realized that, okay, this is legit.
And it paid off. I gotta say, you took a risk because there was no one left.
Yeah, no, and
you could be sitting here by yourself today.
Right, and it was one of those things. I was in the relationship and I was trying to read where her struggles were, call it whatever you want, but I firmly believe that, you know, the show in general, it was just a little overwhelming for her, and we would be more compatible outside of the cameras and stuff. So paid off. They did.
Yeah,
but are those tears real all the time? I'm just wondering.
The tears are real. Yeah.
It's a good timing because you're on camera at the same time. You feel like crying. I think that's very good.
They filmed so much that there was actually a lot more tears than what you saw. Yeah, they pretty much film everything.
But Cassie, your father surprised you in Portugal to talk you out of accepting a proposal from Colton, and that talk led to your breakup. So how is everyone getting along now with your father and your family and Colton?
They get along great. I don't think my dad was ever really talking me out of a breakup. I think he saw my feelings and how I was feeling, and he supports me, and I respect his opinion. But I mean, in that moment, my mind was kind of already made up as to what I had to do. But yeah.
Colton, how's your relationship with her father?
It's good. And, you know, that's one thing, too, is just because I didn't get his blessing when I asked, I honestly respected, you know, his decision. I saw where he was coming from. I respect him as a man and as a father, and I know how much she values her family's opinions and what their relationship is. So it was never like, I never took it personally. I never like was offended that he didn't give it to me. I understood where he was coming from.
Well, yesterday you guys were a hot topic, and we talked about how intent Colton was to get you back, and how he deep down was so convinced that you were in love with him. And a lot of people felt that that was a little stalkerish. Did that cross your mind for a moment when he just like showed up and was knocking on the door, or were you like, wow, this is like really awesome?
I honestly was like, wow, this is really awesome. Yeah. I have never had a feeling of regret like I did when I left Colton that night. I was just sad. I was really sad, and I missed him. And
yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into this, into the show
that we don't see.
Yeah, you guys see a small portion of it, and us as human beings too. So while I appreciate everybody who feels like they know me, you know, there's a lot more to us as human beings, and a lot more to our relationship that you don't get to see.
Is this a very long process?
Yeah, I mean, for me it was. She knows this was my third show with the Bachelor franchise, and I've been so grateful.
The time you're actually together,
that's what I mean,
on camera is small, and I said this backstage. I said when we saw the clips of you two after the show, when the cameras were off and the mics were off, that's when it seemed like you guys were really madly in love.
Yeah, that's
yoga
when I
together
feel like we really got to know each other.
Colton, we saw you and Cassie head to the fantasy suite.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were very open about the fact that you were a virgin.
Yeah.
Which I was very suspicious of that.
I know. Yeah. I know you've been.
Yeah. But can we now say, you know, without any hesitation, that you're not a virgin anymore?
No, that's actually something that we've talked about, and when I went into the fantasy suite, I was worried about fighting for our relationship and having intimate conversations. But since then, I know I've been very open and candid about my virginity.
Yeah.
And now that there's two people in it, out of respect for everybody involved, I've.
Oh, come on. Oh, my God. So wait, what did he say? Serious? What did he say?
Tell us what really happened.
What did he say? That he's still a virgin?
People let you get away with that?
No, I think he's being respectful and saying it is between the two of them, but I think as I say that he is a new man and has experienced probably new physical changes, and we're all, whatever happened, we're all very happy.
Sex is overrated, don't worry.
You're on national TV. By the way, let me tell you, this one almost died yesterday when she found out you weren't following her on Twitter for whatever. I love it. I mean, for the love of God.
Me, man.
You know what? Because you had an exchange with one of our executive producers, and
Were you trying to be on The Bachelor?
He's my friend.
Yeah.
Yes,
so I really liked. You guys were talking about something, and I really respected whatever you were saying to him. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, she's like your number one fan.
I know.
Okay.
Because I've been trying to get her into the I've watched every season.
Wait a second. So what's the takeaway value here? Are you going to consummate this relationship or what?
Yeah.
I mean, we're dating, and we're happy and in
minds
love.
want to know. I'm hanging by a thread here.
Yeah. I mean, that was the question. I mean, your virginity, I mean, we introduced you every topic as the virgin Colton. I mean, you made that a big deal, Colton.
And for the longest time, she thought
John Newton
was a virgin.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue.
Well, the issue isn't that I made it. That was never my identity. I never identify myself as a virgin. I'm so much more than that. Do I think it's overplayed? Absolutely. They overplayed the hell out of it.
They really did.
I am much more than just that label. I hate being labeled as that. And I'll openly admit it was overplayed.
Thank you for
that. But you know, it's 2018, 2019. Once you say you're a virgin this time, in this period in history,
to be honest, I didn't think it was going to get the play it did like that.
Oh, wow.
I really didn't.
Now you know.
I really hate talking about sex on television as everyone knows. And I wish you guys the best in whatever choices you make.
Can I also just say I waited till I was married before I lost my virginity. I don't think there should be any stigma on the choices that people make. And I thought you were very strong, and both of you, when talking about your life and your sexuality and where you are today. That is important.
Were you surprised at how big it got? And do you think it got that big because you're a man?
Right. That's right.
I actually think it got that big because I'm a man and what my past career was.
Football.
NFL.
Football. I think that stigma of being what we're supposed to be as athletes, and we're supposed to build up these exteriors, or the exteriors, and be tough and be manly, and like that was a stigma and a stereotype associated with athletes is you're not a virgin. You're anything but a virgin. So, and for me, I know that was something I struggled with during my career.
We are excited for the engagement whenever that happens. Colton, Cassidy, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all right.